Some shit you just can't make up. This happened a little while after evil Mama Bear moved away. I didn't feel like writing about it before now, not after the shitstorm of this year. My mom passed away, and everything felt too heavy. But I'm ready to put it out there now. Turns out, when evil Mama Bear moved back to Texas, she rekindled a connection with her old childhood best friend. Let's call this piece of work Nosy Nancy. Evil Mama Bear used to mention her every now and then when I was growing up, always in this weird, almost wistful tone. She even had this dusty-ass picture of the two of them as teenagers hanging on the wall. They had lost contact back in the 80s after evil Mama Bear moved away, but apparently they reconnected as soon as evil Mama Bear returned. From what little I know about Nosy Nancy, she was cut from the same damn cloth as evil Mama Bear. No social media, which made it hard to figure her out at the time, but her voice? That raspy, smoked a pack a day for 40 years tone was enough to give me a headache. Apparently, after meeting up again, evil Mama Bear fed her a steaming pile of lies about me and my sister. Shit she's been recycling for years. And wouldn't you know it, Nosy Nancy ate it up. This woman actually called me and my sister out of the blue, spewing all kinds of gaslighting bullshit. There hadn't been a peep from evil Mama Bear since she sold her house and left town. Radio silence, which was exactly what I wanted. But back in her old stomping grounds, I figured she was spinning her web of victimhood, painting me and my sister as the villains to anyone dumb enough to listen. What I didn't expect was for one of her flying monkeys to try and drag me into her circus. It started on a regular workday. I was in my office, sifting through emails, when my cell buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hello," I answered, keeping it professional. The voice on the other end was like nails on a chalkboard. "Is anyone there? Who's asking?" "This is Nancy," she barked, her tone already hostile. "I'm calling on behalf of your mother, evil Mama Bear." My stomach sank. Just hearing evil Mama Bear's name made my blood pressure spike. But I kept my cool. "What about her?" Nosy Nancy wasted no time unloading her bullshit. "She's been staying with me, and she's told me everything about what you've done to her. I can't believe you'd treat your own mother like that. You stole her house, forged your father's will, turned your sister against her." I held the phone away from my ear for a moment, trying to process the audacity. "And you let your sister marry that?" She spat a racial slur so casually I nearly dropped the phone. "How could you do that to her? You made her lose everything. And now she's living with me, trying to rebuild her life after the hell you put her through." That's when I realized this wasn't just a flying monkey. This was a racist, ignorant, chain-smoking relic evil Mama Bear had dragged out of the swamp. I took a deep breath and let her rant for a few more seconds. Then I cut in. "Are you done?" "What? Are you done screaming into the void? Or do you need another minute?" My voice was ice cold. Nosy Nancy sputtered, clearly not expecting me to be so calm. "Excuse me? Listen carefully," I said, enunciating every word. "Everything you just said is bullshit. But I'm not going to waste my time defending myself to you. Here's what you need to know. I have an active restraining order against evil Mama Bear. If you're calling me on her behalf, you're violating that order, which makes you an accessory to her harassment. Do you understand?" Nosy Nancy let out this ugly, guttural laugh. "Restraining order? Against your mother? What kind of person does that?" "I don't believe you." "Oh, you don't have to," I shot back. "I have the paperwork. I have the evidence. And now I have this call recorded. If you contact me again, I will go to the police and I will press charges. Is that clear?" There was a long pause. Then, with a click, she hung up. As soon as the call ended, I called my lawyer. He told me to bring him the recording as soon as possible, so I copied it to a thumb drive and planned to drop it off after work. But before I could even leave the office, my phone rang again. This time, it was my sister. She was furious. "Nosy Nancy called me too," she snapped the second I answered. "Are you serious?" I groaned. "How the hell did she get your number?" There was a pause on the other end. "Well, you know how the hospital called me when evil Mama Bear fell and hurt herself last year?" I froze. "Sis, are you telling me she had your number this whole time?" My sister's voice got quieter. I called her once. After the baby was born." "You what?" "I know. I know it was stupid, she said quickly. I needed to say my piece, okay? I thought it would help me move on. And now we're here, I said through gritted teeth. I blocked her right after, my sister insisted. I didn't think she'd actually save my number or give it to someone else. I pinched the bridge of my nose, trying to keep my frustration in check. Well, now we know she did, and Nosy Nancy's calling both of us because of it. What do we do? My sister asked, her voice tinged with panic. First, you're changing your number again, I said, and you're telling your husband what happened. If evil Mama Bear tries anything else, we'll deal with it, but we can't give her any more openings. My sister agreed, though she was clearly upset. I couldn't blame her. Evil Mama Bear had this way of getting under your skin, making you act against your better judgment. But I wasn't going to let her win. Not this time. Thankfully, that was the last we ever heard from Nosy Nancy. Either she realized she was out of her depth, or she just got bored and moved on. Whatever the reason, I was grateful not to deal with any more of her bullshit. As for evil Mama Bear, she stayed quiet for a while after that. But the peace didn't last. She found new ways to stir up trouble, and the next round was even worse than this one. But that's a story for another day. For now, I'm just glad this particular chapter is closed. Evil Mama Bear may have been relentless, but she underestimated me. I've dealt with her lies, her manipulation, and her flying monkeys long enough to know how to handle them. And no matter what she throws my way, I'll keep standing my ground. When evil Mama Bear found a flying monkey, life went back to something resembling normal after Nosy Nancy's call. My sister changed her number, just like I told her to, and we stayed on high alert. But things seemed quiet for a while. Evil Mama Bear's silence should have felt like relief, but it didn't. It was the calm before the storm, and deep down, I knew she wasn't done. I was right. About 2 months after the calls, a letter showed up in my mailbox. Not at work, at home. That alone set off alarms in my head because I had been meticulous about keeping my personal address private. I didn't recognize the handwriting, but the return address listed a P.O. box in Texas. I knew immediately it was connected to evil Mama Bear. I debated throwing it out without opening it, but curiosity got the better of me. I ripped it open, and my stomach churned as I read the first few lines. Dear, your mother has told me everything about you and your sister's betrayal. How could you treat her so horribly after all she's done for you? You've turned your back on the woman who gave you life, and you'll regret it one day. You think you're safe behind your lies and your lawyers, but the truth always comes out. The letter went on for 2 pages, filled with more of evil Mama Bear's delusional bullshit. It didn't take long to figure out it was written by Nosy Nancy. Her smug, self-righteous tone was all over it. Not to mention the recycled insults evil Mama Bear had been throwing at me for years. The kicker? The letter ended with a thinly veiled threat. You might think this is over, but it's not. People like you always get what's coming to them. I immediately called my lawyer and read the letter to him over the phone. He told me to bring it in, so I did. He advised me to document everything and reassured me that if Nosy Nancy or evil Mama Bear tried anything else, we had more than enough to take legal action. Still, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that evil Mama Bear was escalating. The final straw came about a month later. It was a Friday night, and I was at home watching TV when I heard a noise outside. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but then I heard it again, a scraping sound like someone fiddling with the lock on my back door. My heart dropped. I grabbed my phone and called the police, whispering into the receiver as I moved to a safe spot in the house. I stayed on the line with the dispatcher, trying to stay calm, but my mind was racing. Who the hell was trying to break into my house? The police arrived within minutes, and the would-be intruder bolted. They didn't catch them, but they found fresh scratches on the lock and footprints leading away from the house. When I saw the report later, I almost couldn't believe it. The footprints matched a pair of boots that evil Mama Bear had worn for years. She had been here. That was it. I was done playing nice. I called my lawyer first thing the next morning, and we filed for an extension on the restraining order. This time, we included Nosy Nancy as well. I also installed security cameras around my house and made sure the police had copies of all the evidence I collected. For a while, there was silence again. I didn't hear from evil Mama Bear or Nosy Nancy, and the cameras didn't pick up anything unusual. I thought maybe evil Mama Bear had finally gotten the message. Then, one day, I got a call from an officer in Texas. "Ma'am, this is Officer from PD. I'm calling to inform you that your mother has been arrested." I blinked. "Arrested? For what?" "Breaking and entering," the officer said. "She was caught trying to force her way into another family member's home. When we searched her belongings, we found evidence that she had been planning to travel back to your state. There were notes with your name and address, along with some disturbing comments." I felt a wave of relief and nausea all at once. Evil Mama Bear was behind bars for now, but knowing she'd been planning to come after me again was almost too much to process. Evil Mama Bear ended up spending a few months in jail, and when she got out, she was placed under strict probation. She wasn't allowed to leave Texas, contact me or my sister, or come within 100 miles of my address. As for Nosy Nancy, she vanished from our lives as quickly as she'd appeared. Whether Evil Mama Bear burned that bridge or Nosy Nancy just decided it wasn't worth the trouble, I'll never know. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe again. The nightmare of Evil Mama Bear was finally over. My sister and I have moved on as best we can, focusing on our families and building the kind of lives Evil Mama Bear could never destroy. She may have tried to break us, but we're still standing and stronger than ever. Some people might say I should feel guilty for cutting Evil Mama Bear out of my life, but I don't. She made her choices and I made mine. I chose peace. I chose freedom, and I'll never regret it. This chapter is closed, and I'm not looking back.